Hi, I'm Alex from the English cohort. For my digital learning plan, I chose to focus on Sutori, which is a site that allows teachers to compile resources, activities, and quizzes into a timeline or story for students to use. I wanted to learn how to use Sutori because I looked it over briefly in the past, and I felt that it was a really useful tool to provide students access to multimodal resources in an organized space. As I was learning how to use Sutori, some of the main resources that I used to figure out how to use the program was the help page on the website, which provided a lot of answers to many specific questions for how to use Sutori, YouTube videos that gave visual tutorials for how to kind of incorporate different tools, and forums that talked about how to use Sutori for different specific purposes. As others have mentioned, educating the next generation suggests that the next generation learns by doing rather than being told what to do, and I agree that this is true for myself. As I began my digital learning plan, my first instinct was to explore the site and figure out what I could do on my own. I found that Sutori itself was a really great tool for learning how to use the site because a tutorial was embedded within exploring the site so that I could try different tools on my own with guidance from the site as I went. I was able to multitask between learning and doing so that I could apply information as I received it. I realized that as I was exploring Sutori, I was using student-centered learning to explore the site. I liked that I could make my experience very individualized and focus on what information I wanted to learn and be able to move back and forth between tools as I pleased. As the Cuban article states and discusses, that technology can allow for self-directed learning, and it also states that neoprogressives view students as active learners that create knowledge that makes sense to them. And as a learner, I found that this is how I explored the program of Sutori. I personally learn best when I can do things for myself and make connections between ideas rather than being told about these things. And I really enjoyed learning about Sutori because while I was able to learn about the site this way, this program also allows students to do the same in their own classrooms. Sutori allows for individualized learning because students can turn to any of the resources placed in a story when they need to and return to them and go back and look through them as they want to. The resources are always available to them, much like they were when I was learning how to use the site. Being what Prensky calls a digital native, I found it a relatively natural process to explore Sutori and create and follow my learning plan. I felt that as I was going through each of my objectives, each one helped build upon the other and explore some of the complexities of Sutori. Prensky also mentions that digital natives like to multitask and receive information quickly. As I was learning how to use Sutori, I found myself finding the information I needed and moving on to try things for myself. I would find what information was necessary and then transition into learning by doing.